Western. 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 Western.
Welcome back inside Regency Furniture Stadium. Game one done and over with. We take into game two of a doubleheader right on the other end of this break. Want to welcome you back, and we get into the national anthem. We'll be right back on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is a place with thousands of stories to be told. It's a place to relive baseball's greatest moments and share them with future generations. It's a place to experience the game and how it has shaped our history. Cooperstown is a destination with something for the entire family. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your trip to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown at baseballhall.org.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
A really, really beautiful moment happened while I was away during God Bless America. Our very own Tim Lillis was singing his rendition of it. We ran into technical difficulties. The microphone was not working, and all of the fans joined in to help him sing God Bless America. It was a beautiful sight. And now it's time for some Blue Crabs baseball on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. Let's get you those starting lineups presented by Birch Oil. For the York Revolution, they'll lead off with the center fielder Justin Trapp. Next up is Wellington Dotel, the right fielder. Batting third, the first baseman Telvin Nash, and Isaiah Tejeda, the designated hitter, bats fourth. The 5-hole hitter Carlos Franco, the third baseman, and Melky Mesa plays left field, batting sixth. Angelis Nina, James Skelton, and Alvaro Rondon round it out. On the mound is Mitch Atkins, Tommy Thorpe for the Blue Crabs. And as we get you into the Blue Crabs starting lineup, presented as always by Birch Oil. Ken Blackstone leads us off on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network. He finds himself coming off a good game in Game 1 of the homestand. And now we get you into Edwin Garcia. He gets the day off, make that the game off in Game 1 of the quick 4-game homestand. And batting third is Joe Benson. He batted sixth in the first game, and now he'll move all the way up to third, where he usually hits. Next up is Tony Thomas. Thomas finds himself batting fourth and playing third base. Next up is Corey Vaughn, the left fielder. Charlie Valerio, the catcher, bats sixth. Josh McAdams, the first baseman. Ruby Silva, the right fielder. And Travis Witherspoon is the center fielder, rounding us out. As we get you into this contest, it is the most important game of the season to this point. And there's just not a question about it. This is a 3-game series about to take place between your Blue Crabs and the York Revolution. If the Blue Crabs are able to come up with a couple or maybe even a trio of pivotal wins in this series, Southern Maryland would find themselves sitting just a game back from the York Revolution. But if the Blue Crabs got swept, they would be 7 games back. Couldn't think of a bigger series. Both of these teams potentially find themselves with season-deciding games on their hands. Justin Trapp leads us off, and the count quickly 2 balls and no strikes from Tommy Thorpe to Justin Trapp. Next pitch misses just a little bit outside, and the count 3 balls and no strikes. The numbers for Tommy Thorpe on the season: he is 2-6 with a 6.33 ERA. He's fared much better out of the bullpen, but has transitioned to a full-time starter. This pitch in there for strike number 1. 3-1 the count. In Thorpe's last 5 starts, he's 0-3 with an 8.27 ERA. 19 earned runs in 20 2/3 innings. This one hit hard to the right side, should get out of play. Josh McAdams giving chase all the way back near the Revs bullpen, and it is not going to it's not going to stay in play, and that'll get out of play. The count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Good job fighting back from Tommy Thorpe. Game 1 of our doubleheader ended in a 7-0 Blue Crabs victory. It didn't matter all that much, considering it counts towards the first half and there's 0 playoff implications on the line, as it will be a 6-pitch walk from Tommy Thorpe to Justin Trapp. The real big story from Game 1 is that it was the 50th win of the year for the Blue Crabs, as the Blue Crabs advanced to 50-67, while the York Revolution fall to 62-55. Here comes Wellington Dotel. Third base coach tosses on some signs. The walks were in favor of the York Revolution in Game 1 as well. The Blue Crabs drew 3, while the Revs drew 6. Thorpe's first pitch to Wellington Dotel misses inside, and the count of ball and no strikes. Ricky Eusebio, got the loss. He had dropped 0-3. He went 4 innings, allowing 5 hits, as many runs they were all earned. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Foul ball off the leg of Wellington Dotel. The count of ball and a strike. His ERA goes up to 6.75. Ricky Schaefer goes 2 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, a walk and a strikeout. 2 home runs allowed by him. Ryan Chafee gets the win. He advances to 3-4. 5 innings pitched, 4 runs, no 4 hits, no runs, 5 walks, and a season-high 8 strikeouts, as this one's fouled off to the right side. Kevin Munson closed the deal. He saw his ERA dip all the way down from 3.02 to 2.84. He went 2 innings of no-hit, no-run baseball, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. The Blue Crabs caused their opponents to strike out 12 times in that contest, 12 times in 7 innings. Really incredible stuff. Line drive in a right field. Ruby Silva comes on and catches, and back-to-back Revs are going to get aboard here in this top of the first inning. So Telvin Nash, the most powerful man in all of the Atlantic League, now comes to the plate. Let's take you through the scoring plays back in Game 1. The first runs came off a Josh McAdams double, his 7th of the season. He drove in RBIs 26 and 27 of the year. It was a line drive over the center fielder Zach Sullivan's head that scored 2. Travis Witherspoon came up next and tripled down the first baseline and scored Josh McAdams. The next, that was both in the bottom of the 4th inning as Thorpe comes home to Nash. This one hit high in the air to center field. Back goes Witherspoon. He's pretty well back out there, and that should at least get a runner to third base, and that's exactly what it does. So now, runners on the corners with 1 down in the top of the first. In the bottom of the 5th, John Griffin hit his 8th home run of the season, his 4th in his last 14 games, His 8th home run of the season, and that brought in 3 runs. He now has 8 RBIs in his last 3 games played. Corey Vaughn then hit a home run. It was a solo shot, his 20th of the season. And the Blue Crabs get the 7-0 victory. They advanced to 3-11 against the York Revolution this season. And into the box steps up Isaiah Tejeda. Tejeda leads the Atlantic League in batting average, although it did take a dip in game number 1. He went 1 for 4, and it went down to 355. Thorpe steps off, and all Josh McAdams can do is watch the runner get into second base, as that was just a really, really good running move by Wellington Dotel. Left-handers are going to have to make adjustments with these new Atlantic League MLB rule changes, saying that you can't do the prototypical left-handed pickoff move. And by the time Thorpe stepped off, McAdams made the right decision not throwing to second. And I think maybe Thorpe may have been in the old mindset because, of course, with the traditional left-handed pickoff, once you pick off to first, you can't throw to second. But with this type of pickoff move, when you step off and disengage with the back foot, you are indeed allowed to throw to second base. I was a little surprised he didn't try to freeze the runner, but it's also a good idea to get it into your infielder's hands always. 1-0 pitch, slap foul, the count 1-1. So the inning-ending double play is taken out of the equation. And now runners at second and third with just 1 down. The Blue Crabs in the most important game of the season right here, right now. 4 games back of the York Revolution. If they pick up 3 in a row, they'd be just a game back. The Blue Crabs are on a 3-game win streak, dating back to their final 2 games in Long Island. Fastball high and outside. Valerio jumps on that pitch and catches ball number 2. 2-1 the count. As Tejeda steps back into the right-handed batter's box. Here comes Thorpe. Slider outside corner in there for strike number 2. Big pitch right there from Tommy. Tommy changed his walk-up song to Mississippi Queen just before the game started. Can't quite remember what it used to be. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 hits in this inning for the York Revolution and just 1 down. Isaiah Tejeda at the dish. Thorpe with the pitch. Slider fouled off towards the left side, and the count remains at 2-2. Pinch down there having fun. At second base, Wellington Dotel. At first base is Justin Trapp. He reached on a leadoff walk. Dotel singled into right field before Telvin Nash flew out to center. That got the leadoff man Justin Trapp over to third. And then a stolen base put runners at second and third. Ground ball to the left side. The runner is not going to go home right away, but here comes the throw. McAdams throws home. And I'm not quite sure what just happened. I think McAdams may have stepped off the bag. No, he didn't. That is just going to be a normal ground out. I believe what happened, and yes, indeed, what did happen, there was a ground ball to the third baseman, Tony Thomas. The runner didn't go on the hit, which was interesting. He waited until the throw was made from Thomas to McAdams. The second it was released, the runner went, and McAdams had trouble transferring the ball from the glove to the hand, and just like that, there's a run across the board for the York Revolution. 1-0 the score early, the first run of the day for the York Revolution in Game 2 of a doubleheader. Here comes Carlos Franco. Slider on the outside corner, dips into the dirt, and it misses for ball number 1. So an RBI for Isias Tejeda. That's his 75th of the season. Game 1 gave the Blue Crabs win number 50 of the season. Left-on-left matchup. The only true lefty in this York Revolution lineup is Carlos Franco. Franco hits .331 on the season coming into today. In Game 1 of the doubleheader, he was 1 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. The average climbed to .332. He does not qualify, but if he did, he would have the second best batting average in the Atlantic League. A look back to second. Here comes the 1-1. Slider outside corner in there for strike number 2. Again, Southern Maryland facing the biggest series of the entire season. The Blue Crabs find themselves with just 23 games left in the season, and they're 4 games back of the York Revolution. It's a 3-game series with the York Revolution right here at home. The Blue Crabs have the best record in the Atlantic League in the second half, but are just 3-11 against the York Revolution this season. The Blue Crabs headed up to York earlier this week. I beg your pardon, just last week. They lost 3 of 4. Tommy Thorpe did get a loss in one of those games. He got the no decision, I beg your pardon. He went 4 1/3, allowing just a run. It was earned. He allowed 6 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. Runner goes on the pitch. 1-2, swung on and missed. The throw doesn't matter because Tommy Thorpe got strike number 3. We're through half an inning of baseball in Southern Maryland. The Revs on top early, but Tommy Thorpe keeps the damage to a minimum. And the score, 1-0. We'll take you to the bottom of the first with Kent Blackstone, Edwin Garcia, and Joe Benson on the docket. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Hi, this is Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk. Make your plans today to visit Cooperstown and the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Reconnect with your memories of the game and make new memories with your family. Check out baseballhall.org today for more information.
Carlton Fisk had a lot of little boy in him right there, Joe.
The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, preserving history, honoring excellence, and connecting generations.
This is Corey Vaughn. Are you looking for fun on the weekend without breaking the bank? My Eye Doctor Backfin Buddies is for you. For just $15, your child will get in for free to every Friday Blue Crabs home game all season long. Plus, kids receive a Backfin Buddies t-shirt, go on the field for the national anthem, and parents will get a reduced ticket rate. What more could you ask for? Come watch me hit a home run every Friday for just $15.
Kent Blackstone leads us off in the bottom of the first inning here in Southern Maryland. Blackstone had a good game 1, and he'll try to back that up with a good game 2. This is the most important game of the day, of course, as game 1 of the series counted towards the first half. Mitch Atkins on the mound. He is the ace for this York Revolution team. The right-hander 9-4 on the season with a 2.89 ERA. Ball 1 will miss on the outside corner. 1-1 the count to Kent Blackstone. The DMV area native steps back in. Here comes Atkins. Blackstone pokes it off to the left side and foul. The count of ball and 2 strikes. Mitch Atkins has not gotten a loss since June 4th. As Blackstone lays down a bunt down the third baseline, having trouble coming up with it as the first baseman. Blackstone is going to fall down over there at first, but he will reach, and a critical job by Kent Blackstone to get on base. Big time move by Kent Blackstone. It's just a matter of whether that's called a error or a single. Nonetheless, Blackstone with great speed stands at first base. A really big play for the Blue Crabs. As Edwin Garcia comes to the plate. This is game 118 of the season. Garcia got game 1 of this doubleheader off, but that was only the second time in 118 games that he hasn't started a contest. Incredible stuff in an Iron Man-esque performance on this season for Edwin Garcia. 0-1 the count. They are going to give Blackstone the hit. So a bunt single, and the Blue Crabs leadoff man gets a single in his first at bat in each of the first 2 games. Atkins steps off, and sometimes with a really good pitcher, that's just what you have to do. You just try to have to work him until you can get something good. Sometimes that means bunting, as the count goes to 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes to Edwin Garcia. The right-handed batsman awaiting. Here comes Mitch Atkins on the first base side of the rubber. Slider on the outside corner misses, and the count 1-2. Atkins ranks 6th in Rebs history with 242 strikeouts in his Rebs career. Two out of his last 3 starts have been scoreless starts. And this one ripped to the right center alley, and it's just up short as Wellington Dotel comes up with it. Good charge put into that one by Edwin Garcia, but it's caught for out number 1. In his most recent start against the Blue Crabs, Mitch Atkins went 7 innings getting the win. He allowed just 3 hits in 7 innings, no runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. His only other start against the Blue Crabs this season was also a win. He went the 9-inning, 1-run game, allowing 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. So he's been very good against the Blue Crabs this season. This one tailing down the right field line. Wellington Dotel catches it. And back-to-back really good plays by the right fielder robbed the Blue Crabs of what would have been a run. So a leadoff bunt single turns into 2 nice line drives to the right fielder Wellington Dotel. As Tony Thomas steps into the right-handed batter's box. Thomas finds himself near the top of the leaderboard in terms of Blue Crabs batting averages on the season. He hits .265 after getting a hit in game 1 of the doubleheader. First pitch swung on and missed in the count 0-1. Two down and Tony Thomas at the dish. Kent Blackstone is going to go on the pitch. Here comes the throw from James Skelton. and it's in time. So Kent Blackstone leads off the inning with a bunt single, back-to-back lineouts into the gap in right field, and now a caught stealing can get us through an inning of baseball. The score, 1 for the Revs, nothing for the Blue Crabs at Regency Furniture Stadium.
This is Adam Choplik, left-handed pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Every Blue Crabs Wednesday home game is Wind Up Wednesday Ladies Night at Regency Furniture Stadium, presented by Cove Point Winery. At every Wind Up Wednesday Ladies Night, women will get in for just $5 and can order from a long list of fine wines and watch every baseball game from Southern Maryland at the same time. We look forward to seeing you at the ballpark.
This is Tony Thomas, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Biggest game of the season, and we continue into it. Biggest series of the season, I should say. And it starts off with this contest. The Revs plated 1 in the top of the first inning. And now we take you into the top of the second inning. Leading us off, coming up to the dish, of course, will be number 29, Melky Mesa. The first run was brought in by a ground out to the third baseman, Tony Thomas. Justin Trapp, who reached on a walk, was standing at third base. He kind of held up for a second, but once the throw from Thomas was made, Justin Trapp went home as a major league pop-up is sent to center field. Travis Witherspoon comes on and catches for out number 1. After throwing across the infield, Trapp went home. A transfer troubles was the problem for Josh McAdams over there at first. And now with 1 down, Tommy Thorpe's night rolls on. Angeles Nina comes up to the plate. These two started the season as teammates. In fact, Angeles Nina had the best batting average on the Blue Crabs team last year, was traded to the York Revolution a couple of weeks into the season as Nina comes up to the dish. A little bit of an opposite field shift against Nina. First pitch, a slider in the inside corner for strike number 1. Thorpe working fast, working well. He's only going out of the stretch, however. He is by trade a reliever. Out of the stretch, here he comes. 1-1 the count. In game 1 of this doubleheader, Angeles Nina went 0 for 2 with a walk. He was one of 6 Revs walks in that contest. The only Rev with more than 1 walk, of course, was Telvin Nash. He went 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. 2-1 the count. Here comes Tommy Thorpe. Line drive up the middle. Third hit of the contest. One of them from the Blue Crabs, now 2 from the York Revolution. They've had a hit in each of their first 2 innings. In the top of the first, it was a walk to Justin Trapp. Wellington Dotel singled and stole second base. Telvin Nash advanced the runners into second and third. And then a run scored on a ground out by Isaiah Tejeda. It was his 75th RBI of the season. Runner at first. Of course, the Atlantic League Major League Baseball rule changes permit that a pitcher must completely disengage his back foot off the rubber before attempting a pickoff. 0-1 the count to James Skelton. Despite hitting in the 8-hole, James Skelton leads the Atlantic League in on-base percentage. He hits .295 on the season. Line drive into the left side, and it's through the infield. It kind of jammed up James Skelton. It was an inside-out swing, and a ball lasered into the left side, and the runners find themselves at first and second base with just one down. Back-to-back singles. Here comes Alvaro Rondon. Rondon comes up to the plate. He did not get a start in game one, and he struggles on the season, hitting just .199, no home runs, and 11 RBIs. He is currently on a 2-game hit streak. He's 3 for 7 in his last 2 games. Here comes Tommy. Slider low and inside, and it hits the dirt. Charlie Valerio gets a new baseball. The count 2-1. So we talk about the stealing of first base. Technically, that pitch right there could have had a steal of first base. Now, of course, nobody would do it because there's not really a window of opportunity to run, but any pitch that is not caught in flight is a pitch that you can steal first base on. Bunt shown by Rondon. This is going to be a tough one to field. Tony Thomas with a nice play, and they're going to call Alvaro Rondon safe over there at first base. Wow, that was close. Really nice play by Thomas. So now the bases are loaded with just one down. Let's bring us back to how we got here. Started off with a 2-pitch fly out to center field by Melky Mesa. Angeles Nina singled on a weak line drive up the middle. James Skelton hit a frozen rope line drive through the left side of the infield. And then Alvaro Rondon just singles a bunt down the left field line. Up to the plate comes Justin Trapp. He walked and later scored a run his first time up. Thorpe running into trouble here early. Here he comes. First pitch, and that could save Tommy Thorpe. Tony Thomas looking for the ball outside in foul territory. He runs back and catches it. Huge play for Tony Thomas and Tommy Thorpe. And that is monumental because now all the Blue Crabs need is an out in any form, and they get out of this inning stranding the bases loaded. That's something that they did in game one of this series. And we look back and find that the Revs left 10 runners on base in game one. The Blue Crabs left 8 on base, but they won 7-0. Just 3 strikeouts for the Blue Crabs in game one, 12 for the Revs. Slider misses on the outside corner, and the count of ball and no strikes. The Revs scored 1 in the top of the first. Wellington Dotel is 1 for 1 on the evening. He was 1 for 3 in game one. 1-1, fouled off to the right side, actually could stay in play, but going way back is Ruby Silva. He catches, and Tommy Thorpe works out of it. The bases were loaded with just 1 down, and the Blue Crabs get back-to-back weak flyouts to send us into the bottom of the second. Really, really big stuff from Tommy Thorpe. We take you into the bottom of the second, and the Blue Crabs will look to score their first runs. They send up the top 3 average guys in terms of qualifiers for the Blue Crabs, and Tony Thomas, Corey Vaughn, and Charlie Valerio when we return from Regency Furniture Stadium.
Hey Blue Crabs fans, this is Andrew Banstra, the voice of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, and I want you to come see America's pastime change before your eyes. Did you know that the Atlantic League is partnered with the MLB starting this season to incorporate an electronic strike zone to call balls and strikes at Blue Crabs games? That means a radar tracking technology and an MLB-defined strike zone will determine strikes and balls at Southern Maryland Blue Crabs games this season. Also, batters can steal first base on any pitch that is not caught by the catcher. Baseball is changing before our eyes, and the only place to see it happen is here in the Atlantic League and at a Blue Crabs game. So come check it out at Regency Furniture Stadium.
Hey Blue Crabs fans, this is Tommy Thorpe, left-handed pitcher for the Blue Crabs. Did you know that every Thursday night game at Regency Furniture Stadium will feature the brand new food special, Clyburn's Chow Hall? Just for $30, you can enjoy all-you-can-eat food in the Legends Club. Clyburn's Chow Hall will alternate between beer and wings presented by Foster Grill off Waldorf and tacos and margaritas presented by Mexico Restaurant.
This is Mike Falsetti, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Mike Falsetti welcomes us into this bottom of the second inning. Tony Thomas at the dish. He was actually up to the plate in the bottom of the first when Kent Blackstone was caught stealing, so he comes back to the plate to face off against Mitch Atkins once again. Back in that bottom of the first, the Blue Crabs started it off with a bunt single by Kent Blackstone. Here comes Tony Thomas as he waves one off to the right side. That could drop, folks, and it just scoots foul at the last moment, and it goes down as a long, long strike. But after the bunt single by Kent Blackstone, Edwin Garcia set a shot into a pitch in a right center alley. It was caught by Wellington Dotel, and then Dotel made another fine fielding catch out in right field as Joe Benson lined one out to Dotel in right. Next up came Kent Blackstone. Kent Blackstone recorded out number 3 as he was caught stealing. A lot of power up in these 3 batsmen as Thomas fouls one off to the right side, 0-2 the count. The Blue Crabs send up Tony Thomas, Corey Vaughn, and Charlie Valerio. Those are the only 3 individuals on the Blue Crabs this season with double-digit home runs. Thomas with 12 home runs as he strikes out. Corey Vaughn with 20 home runs after a solo shot in Game 1. And Charlie Valerio with 11 home runs. He has 4 in his last 11 games played, and he has 2 in his last 2 games. In Game 1, Corey Vaughn was 1 for 3 with a home run. He did strike out once. He also reached one time on a hit by pitch. First pitch to Vaughn, a changeup that misses down low, and the count of ball and no strikes. Mitch Atkins was acquired by the York Revolution, and one of the biggest trades that I've ever heard of in the Atlantic League. He was acquired in 2018, March 2018, in a trade for the left-handed pitcher Chase Hutchinson. He's one of the best relievers in the Atlantic League to this day for the High Point Rockers. Atkins is one of the best relievers. Atkins is one of the best starters in the Atlantic League. A ball and 2 strikes to Corey Vaughn. Here comes the pitch. Sinker outside corner, strike number 3, a late call. And down goes Corey Vaughn on strikes. He'll go down looking. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mitch Atkins. Charlie Valerio comes to the plate, and his bat couldn't be any hotter. In the last road trip, he was 10 for 41 with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. That included a 3 for 4 day in which he had 4 RBIs. Yesterday, he had a home run and a double. Give you a really interesting note about Charlie in just a moment. 1-0 the count. Valerio hit a home run on opening day this season. Over his next 78 games, he hit just 6 home runs over his next 78 games. And then in the last 12 days, Valerio has hit a total of 4 home runs as he singles to the right side as the best batting average on this Blue Crabs team. Gets the second hit of the day for Southern Maryland. Josh McAdams now comes to the plate. He has been terrific, just terrific this season. After going 2 for 3 in the series opener, he hits .313. He also plated the first 2 runs of the series opener in Game 1 of this doubleheader. First pitch to the next man up, Josh McAdams misses. Interestingly, Mitch Atkins used to wear number 16, but he gave that back to Isaiah Tejeda, who reclaimed that number. And now Atkins goes back to number 30. Atkins has been awfully good against the Blue Crabs in these last 2 years. Last season, he was 3-0 with a .32 ERA against Southern Maryland. The count 1-2. And this season, in 2 starts, he's allowed just 1 run in 16 innings of work. He has been magnificent against Southern Maryland. That means he's allowed 4 earned runs in his last 44 innings of work against the Blue Crabs, dating back to 2018. He ranks 5th in Rebs history with 21 wins, having moved past Wayne Franklin with his last victory. Next on the list is Frank Gailey, number 4. He has 25. 2-2 jams up Josh McAdams, and the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. In terms of quality starts, he ranks 4th in Revolution's history with 27 quality starts, 14 and 20 starts this year. And his 14 this season is tied for 2nd in Rebs history as a slider on the outside corner rings up Josh McAdams. And striking out the side with a single wedged in there is Mitch Atkins. We're through 2 at the Reg in Waldorf. We'll be right back.
Hey Blue Crabs fans, are you looking to watch a game from one of our luxury suites with 25 of your closest friends? How about the high-end Legends Club in left field? Call 301-638-9788 and ask to speak to a sales representative about your party and group outing.
This is Andrew Johnston, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Coming up to the plate for the York Revolution is Telvin Nash. Statistically, if you value on-base plus slugging percentage, he is the most successful hitter in the Atlantic League. If you value batting average, he's top 5 in that too. Tommy Thorpe's first pitch to Telvin Nash misses on the outside corner, and the count of ball and no strikes. The Blue Crabs in a playoff push. They'll need to win at least 1 or 2 of these next 3 games if they really want to look good down the stretch. If they really want to get a good opportunity down the stretch, as no matter the outcome of this series, the Blue Crabs will be able to make the playoffs, but they can put themselves in really good position with a very successful series here. 2-0 the count. Thorpe catches the upper portion of the strike zone in the count, 2 balls and a strike to Telvin Nash, who's 0 for 3 today. He has walked twice. In this game, he's 0 for 1 with a fly out to center field. 2-1 to Nash. Fastball misses upstairs, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Thorpe has been used as a spot starter over the last couple of years, but has basically moved fully into a starting role here in Southern Maryland. 3-1 Sinker, high and outside, and it misses for ball number 4. So Thorpe walks the leadoff man for the second time in 3 innings. And Telvin Nash has walked 3 times in 5 plate appearances today. Here comes Isaiah Tejeda, his first time up. He grounded out to the third baseman Tony Thomas, but it brought in his 75th RBI of the season. Tejeda steps into his right-handed batter's box. He is hitting .368 in his last 106 games. Coming into the doubleheader today. Strike 1 as it's fouled back. Here comes the ball as it looks like it's going to bounce off the roof above our heads, but I think it actually was held up. He has hit 20 home runs in just 48 games. Named Atlantic League Player of the Month in July, 12 home runs in July, set a Rev single-month record as a strike gets across. No balls, 2 strikes the count to Tejeda. He was just 1 for 14. Excuse me, that was Justin Trapp, I beg your pardon. He was 6 for 16 in their most recent series. 0-2. Just grazes off the outside corner, and the count of ball and 2 strikes. Tejeda, in his 4th year with the York Revolution, interestingly, in 2 stints with York in 2016, he hit .356. That's what he came into today at. A ball and 2 strikes. Here it comes. This one has a charge put into it, but 2 foul, and the count remains at a ball and 2 strikes. As he'll come back on June the 20th, make that May the 20th versus the Blue Crabs. He picked up his 600th career hit. That was when he had a couple days after he had back-to-back 3-hit games, which would have been May the 6th and 7th of this season. Spent his first 6 seasons of professional baseball in the New York Yankees organization. He entered this season, tied for 7th in Revs history in batting average and slugging percentage, which have only gone up since. Came in with a .318 Revs batting average. And stepping back into the right-handed batter's box is Isaiah Tejeda. Tejeda hit .300 with 17 home runs and 78 RBIs back in 2017. That was a member of the York Revolution. As this one grounded up the middle, it gets through the infield. Hanging up at second base will be Telvin Nash, and now runners at first and second with not a single out for Tommy Thorpe, as yet again he'll run into some trouble. We take you back into earlier in this contest. In the first inning, he walked the first man he faced and then allowed a single, would later score. The man that walked would later score. In the very next inning, after 2 pitches led to an out, Thorpe allowed back-to-back-to-back singles to the 7-8-9 of this York Revolution lineup. He did, in fact, turn that around to get back-to-back weak pop-ups to the shallow infield or the shallow outfield. Nonetheless, another jam right here, as there is a little bit of action down there in that Blue Crabs bullpen. And they're going to the big guns right away. It's Adam Choplik throwing down in the Blue Crabs pen. No balls and a strike the count to Carlos Franco. He is the lone true left-handed bat in this lineup. Line drive over the outstretched glove of Edwin Garcia, and it gets past Travis Witherspoon. That'll score at least 1 run and could potentially be a triple. Here comes Edwin Garcia with the throw, and it scores 2 runs. And that'll put the Revs up by a score of 3-0. And that is just about the last thing that you wanted to see if you're a Blue Crabs fan. And one of the most important games of the season. A misplayed ball in center field is going to allow a pair to score, and suddenly The score is 3-0 Revs. Keep in mind, this is a 7-inning game. 6 hits in the game for the Revs, just 2 for the Blue Crabs. As this task will only get taller with Mitch Atkins on the mound for York. Fastball high and outside in the count 1-0. Keep in mind, Mitch Atkins has allowed 4 earned runs in 44 innings against the Blue Crabs since 2018. That is good for an ERA well south of .5. And a ground ball through the left side of the infield will score run number 4 for the York Revolution. Still no outs here in this top of the 3rd inning. So you couldn't find a more difficult situation for the Blue Crabs to come back in. Mitch Atkins, a .5 ERA against Southern Maryland in the last 2 innings. And the Blue Crabs now trailing 4-0. Let's keep in mind, in game 1 of this doubleheader, Southern Maryland won 7-0, but that game did not count towards the second half. So the Blue Crabs still 4 games back of the Revs. And the former Blue Crab, Angelise Nina, steps into the right-handed batter's box. Nina, the Blue Crabs' batting average leader last season, after entering Southern Maryland with a batting average way south of 200, he turned that around, and in just about 100 games in a Blue Crabs uniform, he hit .330. He would finish the season with a combined batting average above 300, and he was top 10 in the Atlantic League in batting average. Nina was traded to the York Revolution back on June the 3rd, completing a trade from 2017 that sent Luis Allen to Southern Maryland. He was hitting .277 for the Blue Crabs in 25 games, and that's just about what he hits right now. As a ground ball through the left side will be yet another single, and runners at first and second with 2 away, and that will be the night for Tommy Thorpe. Stan Clyburn comes to the mound, and that will do it for Tom. The score, 4-0, runners at first and second, no outs. Adam Choplik on his way on the other end of this break. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This is Kent Blackstone, infielder for the Blue Crabs. Here at
The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is a place with thousands of stories to be told. It's a place to relive baseball's greatest moments and share them with future generations. It's a place to experience the game and how it has shaped our history. Cooperstown is a destination with something for the entire family. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your trip to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown at baseballhall.org.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Adam Choplik comes into the game and inherits a really difficult situation. Runners at first and second with not a single out as Tommy Thorpe's night comes to an end. Let's take you back through this inning. It was Telvin Nash that led it off with a walk. Choplik comes back. First pitch misses on the outside corner. The count of ball on no strikes. After Telvin Nash walked, Isaiah Tejada singled. Carlos Franco followed with a 2 RBI single. An error got him all the way to third base. After that, Melky Mesa singled to score Carlos Franco. And then Angelis Nina singled as well. This pitch fouled back into the netting. So Angelis Nina now 2 for 2. James Skelton at the plate. The count 1-1 to Skelton. And in one of the most important games of the season, the Blue Crabs are down 4-0. 2 balls and a strike the count to the man who has the best on-base percentage in the Atlantic League. When I said that Stan Clyburn went with the big guns, I meant that literally. Adam Choplik stands at 6'9", but he's also one of the best relievers in the Atlantic League this season. Choplik has been incredibly good. And back on August the 24th, he joined Matt Latos in the Blue Crabs relievers with a sub-2 ERA club. Choplik has allowed just 1 earned run in his last 32 innings of work dating back to June the 1st, giving him a phenomenal .28 ERA in that time span. Additionally, if you combine Choplik's stats with Latos, the Blue Crabs closer, they have a .56 ERA dating back to June the 1st. Choplik's 3-1 in there for strike number 2. Choplik, additionally, with the 6'9" piece, he is one of the tallest players in professional baseball, and he is part of an elite club of lefty pitchers in professional baseball history. Choplik and Randy Johnson make up a good chunk of the list. 3-1 to James Skelton. 3-2, I beg your pardon. Strike number 3. Big pitch from Adam Choplik as he comes off the bench and strikes out the first man he faces. A big-time strikeout. That brings up the 9-hole hitter, Alvaro Rondon. Last time he was up, he came up with 1 down and runners at first and second, just like there is right now. And he ended up bunting down the third baseline, and honestly, I would put my money on it that he'll do it again right here, especially with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. Tony Thomas is ready for it. No sign of a bunt. A ground ball through the left side of the infield. Runs will be holed up at third. And now the bases loaded yet again for the York Revolution. The score 4-0. Revs on top early. We are in the top of the third inning. It's a 7-inning scheduled game. The Blue Crabs will need to come back to win this contest. The third inning has been the worst for the Blue Crabs this season, and it's not even close. This season, Southern Maryland is being outscored 92-52 in the third inning. It has been a really, really bad inning for Southern Maryland. Southern Maryland has about a negative 90 run differential through 118 games this season. Actually, it's probably about negative 80 after game 1 of this series. But of those 80 runs, about 40 of them come in the third inning. It's just a really, really rough inning for Southern Maryland. Trapp, the leadoff man, leads us off. Strike number 2. As the shortstop Rondon is now 2 for 2. Came in today with just a 199 batting average that's gone all the way up to 207. He started the season with the Sugar Land Skeeters. Justin Trapp is 0 for 1. He did walk and score a run back in the first. Choplik's 0-2 misses way upstairs, and the count 1-2. And if you want to see how the automated ball strike system deciphers pitches, go to AtlanticLeague.com and click on scores. You can follow it live on our Game Day app, and it'll show you exactly where the automated ball strike system picks up the pitches. Strike number 3 is another strikeout from Adam Choplik. He has been magnificent. You can see on the strike zone on the website that anything that catches, actually that last at bat was a perfect example. Anything that catches a sliver of the strike zone is going to be called a strike. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of that right now because it's such a perfect example. Anyways, back to the point. Wellington Dotel comes up to the dish. Change up, beautifully placed outside corner, swung on and missed. No balls and a strike to Wellington Dotel. He's a guy that has fun playing the game of baseball. You can just tell it. Choplik has just been terrific lately. 1 earned run since June 1st. The ERA all the way down to 1.77. The runners at second and third belong to Tommy Thorpe. Chopper off to the right side. Kent Blackstone fields, throws to first. It's in time. We're through 2.5 innings here in Southern Maryland. Tommy Thorpe allows 3 runs with no outs recorded here in the top of the 3rd inning. Adam Choplik inherits 2 runners and doesn't allow any of them to score despite coming in with no outs. We take you into the bottom of the 3rd inning here in Southern Maryland. The score 4-0. Revs. We'll be right back at the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Hey, Blue Crabs fans, are you looking to watch a game from one of our luxury suites? How about the High End Legends Club in left field? Call 301-638-9788 and ask to speak to a sales representative about your party or group outing.
Ruby Silva leads us off here in this bottom of the 3rd inning of baseball in Southern Maryland. Interestingly, through 3 innings of offense, the York Revolution have had each of their top 2 batters in their lineup bat twice. Silva here in the bottom of the 3rd will have his first at bat. Mitch Atkins had a long rest in between innings. We'll see if that plays any factor. First pitch to Silva, catches the outside corner. Oh, 0-1. Ground ball down the right field line. Telvin Nash fields it at the belt and steps on first for out number 1. 4-0 the score. The Revs on top. 9 hits through 3 innings of offense. They plated 3 back in the top of the 3rd inning. Travis Witherspoon comes up to the dish. In game 1 of this series, Witherspoon found himself 1 for 2. Additionally, he had an RBI. It was his 3rd of the season. 1 away, Mitch Atkins back on the hill. Fastball, inside strike number 1. Atkins started the Atlantic League 2019 All-Star game. In fact, he may have been the first pitcher to ever throw to an automated ball strike system. This one gets away from the catcher. Witherspoon with no intentions of stealing first base. He'll make sure his bat isn't broken first. As a car alarm starts going off in the Blue Crabs parking lot, but it stops. The count 0-2. I beg your pardon, there was no opportunity to steal first on that other pitch. The count 1-2. And here comes the car alarm once again. Travis Witherspoon spent 7 years in minor league affiliated baseball. As a line drive up the middle, Witherspoon's bat's been hot. He's been hitting the ball awfully well. And we'll flip it back to the top. Kent Blackstone comes to the dish. The Blue Crabs have 3 hits, 1 time through the order. Charlie Valerio had a single. Now Witherspoon had a single, and Kent Blackstone led off this game with a single. It was a bunt single down the third base line. As that pesky car alarm continues. Blackstone slices a pitch off to the left side towards our Legends Club and hits on top. Every Thursday, we have Clyburn's Chow Hall, where for just $30, you can have all-you-can-eat food, all-you-can-drink alcohol. Alternating Thursdays between Foster's Grills, all-you-can-eat wings, all-you-can-drink beer. And other Thursdays, it is all-you-can-eat tacos and all-you-can-drink margaritas as Telvin Nash jumps out of the gym to make an incredible catch over there at first, robbing Kent Blackstone of a base hit. That is the 3rd time in this contest that the York Revolution have made a tremendous play in the outfield. They've made a tremendous play to stop the Blue Crabs from getting a base hit. One of those was when Edwin Garcia was up his first time. And Garcia got robbed of a line drive base hit to right field, as did Joe Benson, who awaits on deck. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 4-0 the score. Rebs on top of the Blue Crabs. Garcia, soft dribbler to the left side. Alvaro Rondon comes up, corrals it, and throws it across the infield for out number 3. We're through 3 in Southern Maryland. 4-0 the score. York on top. We'll be right back from Regency Furniture Stadium.
So, what do you like about your home?
Practice like hockey. I practice stick handling and sometimes shooting. Mommy. Go outside sometimes. I like playing lacrosse. Playing the Switch. I like the scribble. Daddy. I like to build Legos at home. I have the biggest closet. Riding my dirt bike.
We help you home. At Hometown Real Estate, we want to help you and your family home. Whatever that takes and whatever that means to you. Give us a call at 888-225-2736 or online at helpyouhomebluecrabs.com.
This is Charlie Valerio, and you are listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
After making an incredible defensive play in the most recent half inning, Telvin Nash steps into his right-handed batter's box. He robbed Kent Blackstone of what could have been a ground ball base hit through the right side of the infield. Revs on top 4-0 through 3 innings. Adam Choplik back on the mound. His first pitch in there for strike number 1. The Revs batted around in the 3rd inning. They plated 3 runs, stranded 3 runs, and recorded 3 outs. 9 hits have given York 4 runs. 3 hits have given the Blue Crabs no runs. Southern Maryland has also committed an error. And the count at a ball and a strike. The final line on Tommy Thorpe, he goes 2 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Adam Choplik has gone an inning to this point. 1 hit, no runs or walks, 2 strikeouts. Fastball outside corner, swung on and missed. The count at a ball and 2 strikes. Telvin Nash has walked in 3 of his 5 plate appearances today in our 2 games of our doubleheader. A ball and 2 strikes the count to Telvin Nash. He readjusts his jersey and steps back in. Now he'll step out of the batter's box. Bends down to stretch the hamstrings, and now he comes back into the box. He's a fan favorite in York. He was a 2019 Atlantic League All-Star, deservingly so. 1-2, Choplik likes what he sees from his catcher, Valerio. And Telvin Nash requests time once again. Silvio Martinez behind the dish. Over at first base is our first base umpire, Warren Nicholson. And Jorge Tehran stands at third. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Telvin Nash. As number 38, Adam Choplik, steps back onto the mound. Choplik has been awfully good to this point. 1 inning, 1 hit, no walks, no runs, 2 strikeouts. The ERA all the way down to 1.76. It came into today at 1.80. At a point, it can only go down so much. 2-2. Slider inside corner, it misses, and the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. 2 Blue Crabs relievers have sub-2 ERAs, which is an incredible feat. When you look at the numbers after the All-Star game, 3 Blue Crabs relievers have an ERA 2.01 or better. James Dykstra, Adam Choplik, and Matt Latos. Full count, payoff pitch on its way. Nash takes downstairs, and he draws his 4th walk in 6 plate appearances today, and his batting average has taken an awfully big hike. Give you the numbers for Mitch Atkins to this point. The starting pitcher for the York Revolution has gone 3 innings, allowing 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. His ERA dips down to 2.82. Here comes Isaias Tejeda. Tejeda's 1 for 2. He also has a run scored and an RBI. His OPS sits over 1,000 at 10.04. Choplik misses upstairs, and the count of ball and no strikes. If you really want to get nitpicky, the walks would be one thing to focus on for Adam Choplik. He's walked 21 batters in 46 innings of work. In that time frame, he's only allowed 9 earned runs, though, and a total of 37 hits. So the whip's still very low for Adam Choplik. Not under 1, but still awfully good. A ball and a strike the count. Since the All-Star break, Choplik has appeared in 15 games, pitching 18 1/3 innings, 22 strikeouts, and not a single run. Earned run, I should say. I believe he may have 1 or 2 unearned. 1-1. Tejeda takes a big hack at that pitch, falls to a knee, and I believe he just got tripped up a little bit. 1-2 the count. Sometimes you get so into it, you end up tripping yourself up a little bit. Defensive alignment for the Blue Crabs from left to right in the outfield. It's Corey Vaughn, Travis Witherspoon, and Josh McAdams. From left to right in the infield, Tony Thomas, Edwin Garcia, Ken Blackstone, and Josh McAdams. I beg your pardon, Ruby Silva's in right field. Charlie Valerio behind the dish, Adam Choplik on the mound, and a foul ball off to the left side. Give you some scores from around the MLB here shortly, and the Atlantic League. Start off with the Atlantic League. There was 2 doubleheaders today, one of which was here in Southern Maryland. One of them was in Lancaster between the Barnstormers and the Bees, as the count evens up at 2-2. The Barnstormers defeated the Bees 7-4 in Game 1 of that doubleheader. Game 2 is underway at 0-0 right now. Of course, the Blue Crabs won the first of this doubleheader by a score of 7-0. And over in Long Island, the Ducks are leading the Patriots 8-5. Currently, the Skeeters are leading the Rockers by a score of 2-1. Long fly out to right field. Ruby Silva almost goes back to the warning track and catches for out number 1. Breaking news is that Hurricane Dorian is now considered to be a Category 4 hurricane. Could potentially be catastrophic, is what the news says. Is expected to grow stronger before it reaches the east coast of Florida. Really scary stuff over there in our southern region of America. Of course, college football getting underway tonight. Give you some MLB scores first. Mets and the Phillies are all tied at 1-1 in the top of the 7th. The A's are leading the Yankees by a score of 6-2 in the top of the 7th. Indians and Rays are all tied at 0, but the Rays have runners on the corners with just 1 down in the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs took down the Brewers by a score of 7-1 earlier today. Here comes Choplik, 0-1 pitch, driven up the middle for a line drive, and Carlos Franco comes up with a base hit. So now runners on first and second. Some scores in college football. The Wisconsin Badgers are beating South Florida right now by a score of 28-0. They're already covering their 11.5-point spread. The Nationals are beating the Marlins by a score of 4-2 in the top of the 7th. The Astros are beating the Blue Jays by a score of 6-1 in the top of the 7th. The Braves are up 6-1 on the White Sox in the bottom of the 6th. The Rangers and the Mariners are all tied at 2 in the middle of the 5th. 0-1, swing and a miss on the outside corner to Melky Mesa on the count 0-1. The Orioles are in Kansas City, and they're beating the Kansas City Royals by a score of 6-1. A delay in Colorado, but right now the Pirates are beating the Rockies 2-1. Couple of games still to go this evening. 0-2 on the outside corner, but it misses. Still on the slate for tonight, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. The Red Sox and the Angels will also take place later tonight, as will the Padres and the Giants. Madison Bumgarner on the mound for San Francisco. And, wow, Cardinals and the Reds postponed, so they'll play back-to-back doubleheaders. 2-2 the count from Choplik to Melky Mesa, who steps into the right-handed batter's box. Mesa, to this point in the contest, finds himself 1 for 2 with an RBI. In game 1 of the series, he was 0 for 3. So 1 for 5 to this point in the road trip for Mesa. Here comes the pitch. 2-1 high and inside. Make that 2-2 high and inside. I beg your pardon. Let's go back one more time. I believe the count is 3 balls and a strike. Runners at first and second. Adam Choplik very rarely finds himself in trouble. 3 balls and a strike to count from Adam Choplik. Here comes the pitch. Fastball driven the other way, but foul, and the count full at 3-2. After the Revs got just 4 hits in 7 innings of offense in Game 1, they already have 10 hits through 3 1/3 here in this second game of the doubleheader. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and a full count on its way to Melky Mesa. Here comes the pitch. 3-2 driven up the middle, hits off of Adam Choplick's leg. Josh McAdams picks it up, runs to first, and out is the runner. Wow, what a play. Really close play as Daryl Thompson, Lauren Eck, and Stan Clyburn will come out to the mound. As Adam Choplick will walk around there on the mound. Let's take a closer look at Adam. Daryl Thompson in the black hoodie. In the gray shirt is Lauren Eck. Home plate umpire standing right in front of him, Choplick. In the very back, he's the tallest individual on the screen. You can see him smiling and talking. That's a good sign. Charlie Valerio, his catcher, talking with him as Daryl Thompson's pointing out directions. Josh McAdams made a fine play after that ball bounced off the leg of Adam Choplick, who will likely take some warm-up pitches. He looks to be okay. Hops up a little bit on that left ankle. Daryl Thompson making sure he gets a good look. Thompson went 8 2/3 of 1-run baseball yesterday. He got the no decision for the first time in 18 starts. And Adam Choplick now comes back to the mound. Choplick with runners on second and third base. And 2 outs. Angelis Nina steps into the box. He's 2 for 2 today. Top of the 4th inning of baseball here in Southern Maryland. Line drive down the right field line, and that will at least score 2. 1-run scores. Here comes the second run to come and score. And Adam Choplick's incredible run has come to an end here in Southern Maryland. He had allowed just 1 earned run dating back to June the 1st, giving him a .28 ERA in his last 32 innings. But he now allows 2 earned runs, and just like that, the York Revolution are on top 6-0 here in this top of the 4th inning of baseball. Still a good amount of baseball to play, but you got to take into account that this is a 7-inning game. See if Choplick's ERA dips back over 2. It likely will, and it does. It still sits pretty darn good. It's at 2-1-2. Slider outside corner misses, and the count a ball and a strike. Make that a ball and no strikes to James Skelton. He is the 8-hole hitter, and he's hitting for the 3rd time in just the 4th inning. The score 6-0 Revs here in this top of the 4th. Fastball on the outside corner in there for strike number 1. The Revolution put up a run in the first, nothing in the second, 3 in the third, and now 2 here in the 4th. Blue Crabs are outscoring opponents 55-49 in the 4th inning this season. We mentioned in the most recent half inning that the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs really struggle in the 3rd inning this season. They are being outscored 92-52 in the 3rd this year. That accounts for just about half of the Blue Crabs' run differential this season, meaning that you could argue that if it wasn't for that inning, the Blue Crabs would be a much different team than they are. In fact, you could argue that they might have they may have won half the games they've lost to this point in the season, meaning that the Blue Crabs could be just about 500 on the season if it wasn't for poor performances in the 3rd inning of baseball. Somebody is up and throwing in the Blue Crabs pen. Not quite sure who that is. I believe it's Brandon Shimo. And a walk has been drawn from James Skelton. That flips the order all the way to the bottom. It's Alvaro Rendon. He's 2 for 2 today. He has faced Choplick. 11 hits for this York Revolution team. Additionally, they've drawn 3 walks. They also were helped out by a Blue Crabs error earlier in this game. That did not allow a runner on, but it was a single with an error advancing. So 14 base runners in 3 2/3 innings for the Revs have given them 6 runs. Actually, I beg your pardon, now 4 walks for the Blue Crabs pitching staff. So it is 15 base runners in 3 2/3 innings. This is the Blue Crabs bullpen that has just been top-notch in the second half of this season. The bullpen in the second half combines for an 11-3 record with a 2.38 ERA coming into today. That will go up a little bit after these runs earned by Choplick, but not all that much. Munson tossed 2 scoreless in game 1 of the doubleheader. 0-1 the count. The Blue Crabs pitchers have struck out just as many batters as they've allowed hits coming into today, which is just insane. Little looper over towards the right side, and that could bring a run home. Silva will likely come up throwing, and he'll hold it into his back pocket. Another run scores, and Adam Choplick rarely has a rough day, but that's just what happens today. Make that 7-0 the score. And here comes Justin Trapp. Choplick had allowed 1 earned run since June 1st coming into today. He has now allowed 3 earned runs in an inning and 2/3. That's what this York Revolution team will do to you. They are just magnificent in the hitting department. They hit nearly 300 on the season as a team. Last week, they scored 6 runs in the 9th inning in back-to-back games to come back and beat their opponents. And in those same 2 days, the Blue Crabs lost leads after leading going into the 5th inning and would end up dropping 2 games in the standings to the York Revolution. And in one of the biggest series of the year, the Blue Crabs trailing 7-0 here in the top of the 4th. It is a 7-inning game. One from Choplick. High outside and the count 2-1. Adam has now thrown 45 pitches, 25 of which have come in for strikes, and the ERA comes all the way up to 2.31 after being as low as 1.74 at a point during this outing. He has allowed a 4th of his earned runs on the season in this in this appearance alone. But honestly, all of those stats just go to show how good he's been this season. Everybody deserves some leeway here and there, and he is more than deserving. In fact, in our media notes, I've never written a section about just one reliever, but I did that for Adam Choplick. That's how good he's been. 3-1 swung on and missed. The count 3-2. More college football. Michigan State leading Tulsa 28-7. Once again, Wisconsin leading South Florida 28-0. This one sees the runners go on the pitch, but it's fouled back over the protective netting, and the count stays at 3-2. Choplick comes back onto the mound. And we'll get you some more MLB scores in just a moment. The Nationals leading the Marlins 4-3. But the Marlins have the bases loaded in the top of the 7th. Runners go on the pitch. Silva chasing this ball down, and he'll catch it for out number 3. So 3 more runs come across to score for the Revs. In the top of the 4th, we take you into the bottom half on the other end of this break.
This is Ruby Silva, and you are listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Joe Benson leads us off in the bottom of the 4th inning. It's a much different game than we came into the 4th with, as the Revs have broken things open here in Southern Maryland. The score 7-0. Mitch Atkins on the mound after another long break in between innings. Atkins has been very good to this point. He has tossed 3 innings, allowing 3 hits, no runs or walks, 3 strikeouts. Cutter on the outside corner in there for strike number 2. Atkins ranks 3rd in the Atlantic League in wins, 4th in ERA, 4th in strikeouts, 4th in innings pitched, 5th in opponents' average against, and 3rd in walks plus hits per inning pitched, as Joe Benson goes down looking. And that one hurts if you're Joe Benson, because that pitch did not look close per the old school version of a strike zone. Of course, much different now. As Tony Thomas comes to the plate. First pitch Thomas hits is foul. As Benson goes down for out number 1, the count 0-1. Next pitch misses just a little bit, and the count, a ball and a strike. Thomas waves the bat above his black shiny helmet. Slider inside, and the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Atkins back onto the mound. On a curveball, it is swung on and missed, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for Mitch Atkins. He has been awfully good to this point. No question about that. He's been dominant. There's some guys like that in the Atlantic League. Darrell Thompson, one of them. Mitch Atkins, another. And when they get the rock, you know it's going to be a tough night for the opponent. Swing and a miss from Corey Vaughn, who steps into his right-handed batter's box. 7-0 the score. Bottom of the fourth inning. And this one catches the outside corner. Corey Vaughn had a solo home run in game one of this doubleheader, I should say. No balls, 2 strikes the count. Here comes the pitch. Inside and a little bit high. The count 1-2. Vaughn followed by Charlie Valerio, should we get that far. Atkins likes what he sees. Here comes the 1-2. Low and outside, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Vaughn came into today hitting .267. In game one of this doubleheader, he hit his 20th home run of the season. This one hit hard to the left side, but shallow. Ranging back is a converging triangle of York Revolution defenders. Calling off and catching is Justin Trapp in center field, and we're through 4 in Southern Maryland. The score 7-0 Revs on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Chooky Beat.
This is Ryan Chafee, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Ryan Chafee got the start and the win in game one of this doubleheader. As we roll into the top of the fifth inning, new pitcher on the mound for the Blue Crabs is Brandon Shimmo. He's 0-0 on the season. He's appeared in 10 games, going 11 innings and 2/3. 10 hits, 8 runs, 8 earned, 9 walks, 7 strikeouts. The ERA at 6.17. First pitch misses low and away. The count 1-0 as digging into the box is Wellington Dotel. Dotel wears number 16 on the back of his navy jersey with the yellow and white decals and stripes. 1-0. Line to the left side. A diving Edwin Garcia sees his hat fall off his head as it nearly takes the glove off his hand. That will surely go down as a single. Dotel gives way to Telvin Nash as Nash has drawn 4 walks in 6 plate appearances today. Outside of that, he's 0 for 2. I beg your pardon, he's had 7 plate appearances today. As the Blue Crabs trainer, Lauren Eck, will come check on Edwin Garcia. Thomas is going to run over there and make sure Garcia's okay as well. As we give you a look across the infield. Shimo out on the mound. Awaiting his next pitch. Shimo wears number 28 on the back of his red and white pinstripe jersey. He was acquired by the Blue Crabs back on July the 16th after playing the first half of the season as a member of the Chicago Dogs, Stan Clyburn's former team. As Lauren Eck and Stan Clyburn will come off the field, mentioned it earlier. After a pair of twins made their MLB debuts, it was announced that there has officially been 10 sets of twins that have played in the MLB. One of those sets of twins was Blue Crabs manager Stan and his brother Stu Clyburn, and they used to coach together for the Minnesota Twins, their AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings. Here comes the next man up to the dish. It's Telvin Nash. Some of the best power in the Atlantic League. First pitch misses down low in the count of ball and no strikes. A couple of years ago, Brandon Shimo appeared in a whole lot of games for the New Britain Bees. More than 50 appearances with the Bees back in 2017. That was his first stint in the Atlantic League. He then spent 2018 and the better part of 2019 as a member of the Chicago Dogs before coming here to Southern Maryland. A ball and no strikes, and a good sinker is swung on and missed by Telvin Nash. Nash has just been dominant at all levels of baseball. One of the finest hitters in the Atlantic League. Has not recorded a hit today, but has drawn 4 walks. That'll help the on-base percentage that came into today second best in the Atlantic League on the season. 1-1 low and away in the count, 2-1. None down and a runner at first. 7-0 the score, the Revs on top. The Blue Crabs find themselves in an interesting situation because one of their relievers, really their long reliever that would typically come in this situation, Ryan Chafee, started game 1. Kevin Munson already threw. Adam Choplik already threw. So the only available arms would be James Dykstra and Matt Latos, who serve as the setup man and closer. And realistically, if you're Stan Clyburn, you just don't want to throw those two individuals in a 7-0 game in which you're losing. So expect to see a lot of Brandon Shimo. 3 balls and a strike the count. Here it comes. Sinker swung on and missed. The count 3-2 from the side armor. Maybe not quite side armor, but about in between over the top. I'd say about a 3/4 arm slot. Basically right between side arm and right over the top. Of course, you can go all the way down to being a submarine pitcher. Almost throwing underhanded at that point. 3-2 fouled right back up towards the press box. We'll stay at full. In game 1, Telvin Nash was 0 for 2 with 2 walks. As he comes back to the plate here. Takes a deep breath, stares the label on his bat. That's a pretty common tactic. People just stare at the logo on their bat to try to zero in on something so they can get their focus all in one place before looking at the pitch. 5 walks on the day is now what Telvin Nash has drawn, an incredible feat. I mean, 5 walks in a day is just a whole lot of walks to draw for one person. I mean, the Blue Crabs this season don't average 5 walks a game. Southern Maryland has walked just 111 times in 47 games this half. This season, the Blue Crabs have drawn just 275 walks in 116 games. That was coming into the doubleheader today. The on-base percentage out of this world for Telvin Nash, as is the OPS. He also leads the Atlantic League in slugging, home runs, and RBIs. 35 home runs for Telvin Nash. 7-0 the score. Here comes Isaiah Tejeda. First pitch in there for strike number 1. Runners at first and second with no outs. And the Rebs have just had a lot of base runners today. They have 13 hits and they've drawn 5 walks, so 18 individuals have reached base in 4 1/3 innings. Shimmo with a look back to second. Here he comes with the pitch. 0-1, slider swung through on the outside corner, 0-2 the count. Tejeda was 1 for 4 in the series opener. Today, in the game 2 of the series, game 2 of the doubleheader, he's 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. So 2 for 7 to this point on the day. Shimmo's got his sign. Here comes the 0-2. Pitch on its way. Slider inside. Just a little bit low. And the count 1-2. Top of the 5th action here in Southern Maryland. We're slated for 7, unless we need more, but it's not looking like it to this point. 7-0 the score. That's the score the Blue Crabs won by in game 1 of the doubleheader, but that went towards the first half record. Will not attribute to the second half record. So that we can put a cap on the Blue Crabs' first half of the season as the count runs to 2-2. Southern Maryland finishes the first half at a 26-45 clip. I beg your pardon. The Blue Crabs are at 24-23 in the second half is what I should have said. They finished the first half 26-44. On the season, Southern Maryland 50-67. 2-2 on its way from Brandon Shimmo. Runners at first and second with nobody out. This pitch misses inside and the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Coming into today, the Blue Crabs found themselves 7-12 on Fridays. The only day of the week the Blue Crabs are over 500 in is Saturday. They're 8-10 on Saturdays. They are 500 on Mondays, in which they're 5-5. Slider driven down the left field line and foul. Takes a mean hop. And Matt Latos will hustle into the outfield to get it from Joe Benson. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. Give you a look around the Atlantic League in just a moment. Still scoreless in game 2 of the doubleheader between the Lancaster Barnstormers and the New Britain Bees. I beg your pardon, I don't know that my page was refreshed. That game is in fact still scoreless. The Ducks are still leading the Patriots 8-5. And the Skeeters are on top of the Rockers 3-2. A walk loads the bases. And still not a whole lot of action in the Blue Crabs bullpen. And now the bases are loaded with no outs for the left-handed batsman, Carlos Franco. Franco will come up to the dish. Shimmo is going to try to keep the bases cleared. But he's struggled to this point as Brandon finds himself having allowed 1 hit and 2 walks to load the bases with no outs. It is worth mentioning that when he pitches, he finds himself getting into trouble quite often, but he typically gets out of the situations. Of course, a relatively small sample size from Brandon this season, but from what I've seen, that's what I've noticed. There has been a couple of times where it's gotten out of control, but outside of that, he's been awfully good. Fastball outside corner that misses makes the count 2 balls and no strikes. Shimo has thrown 17 pitches, just 7 of them have been strikes. Carlos Franco is 2 for 3 today, the average all the way up to 336. He was 1 for 2 in the opener, 2 for 3 to this point in game 2 of the doubleheader. 2-0 pitch. Inside, swung on and missed, and the count 2-1. As Franco steps back into the batter's box. Of his 10 home runs on the season, he had hit 9 in his last 34 games played coming into the doubleheader today. 2-1 on its way. Grounder up the middle. This could be 2. Garcia with a dive, backhanded flip to second, and the throw to first not in time, but a beautiful play up the middle. Although a run does score. 1 away, runners at first and third with 1 down, and the score 8-0 Revs here in the top of the 5th inning. The Blue Crabs' kryptonite has been the York Revolution this season. The Revs are 11-3 against the Blue Crabs this season after dropping the first game of this doubleheader. Here comes Melky Mesa. 1 down. Here we go in the top of the 5th inning. 7-inning scheduled game as a cutter misses on the cutter swung on and missed on the outside corner. The count, no balls and a strike. Mesa has 35 home runs in his Rev career. That is 3 shy of the top 10 mark in the Revolution's history. He has started 85 games as the designated hitter, which is 6th most in Revs history. 1-1 the count. He was voted as a 2019 All-Star, but he did not play due to injury. Scored his 600th professional run this season back on May the 5th at Long Island. Scored his 600th run in the minors back in High Point on May the 9th. Swing and a miss, 0-2 the count. I beg your pardon, 1-2 the count. 8-0 Revs here in the top of the 5th. As Brandon Shimo's night rolls on. 1 down, runners on the corners. 1 has come across to score. 1-1. Slider outside, that gets past the catcher, Charlie Valerio. A dive and throws not in time. That brings a run home. Good hustle from Brandon Shimo, however, but it comes to no volition. And they score 9-0. The Revs are on top. Nine to 0 the score. The count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 down and a runner at second. Melky Mesa stands into the right-handed batter's box. The time is now 10 o'clock. Give you a time on what time we started this evening. We started at 8:16. Both of these games this evening have been awfully slow moving. 1-1 misses inside. I beg your pardon, 2-2 misses inside. And the count now 3 balls and 2 strikes. As we roll on here at Regency Furniture Stadium, the Blue Crabs, coming into this game, had the best home record in the Atlantic League in the second half. 3-2, line drive up the middle. Here comes Travis Witherspoon. Runner is being waved home. A throw from Witherspoon is well offline, and a run will come to score as Carlos Franco scores the 10th Revs run of this contest. And the score is now 10-0. The Revolution are out hitting the Blue Crabs 14-3. It has been a doubleheader of 2 stories. Game 1 saw the Blue Crabs win 7-0. Here in Game 2, it's 10-0 Revs. Stepping up to the dish is Angelise Nina. Nina's had an awfully good day to this point. The former Blue Crab is 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Interestingly, just off the top of my head, in the last 2 games I can remember that Nina has played as a member of the Revolution here at Regency Furniture Stadium since being traded, Nina has 4 RBIs. In his first 29 games of the season as a member of the Blue Crabs, he didn't have a single RBI. 1 down and a runner at first. The count 2 balls and no strikes. Nobody's up and throwing in the Blue Crabs pen, so Shimo's out on an island. And another really long break for Mitch Atkins. It's the 3rd time this evening that he'll have probably about 30 to 45 minutes in between half innings pitched. Has not proved to be a problem for him to this point. 2-0 the count. Nina steps back in. He's hitting .284 on the season. Beg your pardon, the count was 3 balls and no strikes. Now the count 3-1. An emphatic strike call from our home plate umpire, Silvio Martinez. 3-1. Here comes Shimo. Big hack and a foul on the count 3-2. Nina was 0 for 2 with a walk in game 1 of the doubleheader, making him 3 for 5 with a walk to this point in the series. He's been awfully good against the Blue Crabs. He had 4 for 10 with a home run, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored in his most recent series played. That was against the Sugar Land Skeeters, so a pivotal stretch for the York Revolution as they find themselves playing the Skeeters and now the Blue Crabs, the 2 teams that have been chasing them in the Freedom Division second half. Full count. Here comes the payoff pitch. It's inside. Ball number 4. And that is the 3rd walk issued to this point in Brandon Shimo's outing. He has now thrown 33 pitches, 15 strikes. James Skelton, the next man up to the dish. Let's run back through the pitching breakdown for the Blue Crabs to this point. Tommy Thorpe got the start. He went 2 innings, allowing 8 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, as well as 1 strikeout. Adam Choplik went 2 innings, allowing 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And Brandon Shimo has now gone a third of an inning, allowing 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 runs, all of them earned. Choplik allowed 3 earned after allowing 1 earned run since June the 1st. This could be the inning, a potential double play ball, 4-6, not in time to 3. But a fielder's choice is going to get the second out of this inning, as this is an inning the Blue Crabs would very much like to end. The York Revolution put up 1 run in the first. Nobody scored in the second. And York put up 3 in the third, 3 in the fourth, and now 3 in the fifth. And it is a 10-0 ball game. The Rebs on top. Southern Maryland came into this contest 4 games back of the Revolution, 24-24 in the second half. The Blue Crabs had touched the 500 mark just 3 times and had been under 500 just once. Southern Maryland started off this second half 4-0. In fact, dating back to prior to the second half, the Blue Crabs were on a season-best 7-game win streak. Soft dribbler to the right side. Blackstone gobbles, tosses on to second, and this inning is over. We take into the bottom of the 5th, a 10-0 game. on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is a place with thousands of stories to be told. It's a place to relive baseball's greatest moments and share them with future generations. It's a place to experience the game and how it has shaped our history. Cooperstown is a destination with something for the entire family. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your trip to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown at baseballhall.org.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Charlie Valerio leads us off here in the bottom of the fifth inning of baseball. Southern Maryland trailing by a score of 10-0. Likely will be 5 games back of the York Revolution with 23 games left in the season. After this contest, first pitch catches the outside corner. Strike number 1 looking for Mitch Atkins to Charlie Valerio. Valerio has one of the 3 Blue Crabs hits in this contest. It was a line drive into right field. 1-1 the count. Atkins had a very long break in between innings. The average for Charlie all the way up to 273. That leads the team among qualifiers. 2-1 the count. Charlie has had his bat explode lately. He had a home run on opening day back on April 25th. He then hit 6 home runs in his next 78 games. And on a 4-game road trip from August 19th to 29th, he hit 4 home runs. Additionally, after getting game 1 of the doubleheader off today, he finds himself with home runs in back-to-back games before today. 2-2 the count. This one hit through the right side of the infield. Charlie can do nothing but hit. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a base hit for Charlie Valerio. He's 2 for 2 today. That brings up Josh McAdams. He had a bullet of a line drive base hit over the center fielder's head in the first game. It brought in the first runs of the day. It was a 2 RBI double. The average for Valerio all the way up to 275. Here comes Josh McAdams. 14 hits for the Rebs have given him 10 runs. First pitch from Atkins on the outside corner for a strike. Alvaro Rendon is antsy out there at shortstop. He's ready to play ball. It's been a long game. Just about 2 hours in, and we're only in the bottom of the 5th. Foul back into the screen, the count 0-2. Keep in mind, this is a 7-inning game. No balls, 2 strikes the count. Ruby Silva awaits on deck. Here comes the pitch. Softly hit, foul ball into the stands, and we'll stay it at no balls and 2 strikes. The Blue Crabs have struggled against the York Revolution this season. Outside of the Somerset Patriots and the York Revolution, the Blue Crabs are within 3 games of 500 against every team in the Atlantic League. Against the Patriots, they're 7-12, but against the York Revolution, they're 3-11. That's after winning the series opener today, but that game did not count towards the second half, so it doesn't matter really at all. 1 down as Josh McAdams goes down swinging. And the Blue Crabs are being held scoreless to this point. The batting average for the Blue Crabs in the second half, slightly better than it was in the first half. The OPS just very slightly better. This one hit to the left side, could be 2. Rondon flips to second, not in time to first though. So a fielder's choice gets 1 run, but 1 out. But 2 outs can't be had as Travis Witherspoon will see in a bat in this inning. Bottom of the 5th, the score 10-0, the Revs on top. Not quite sure what's going on out there on the field, but the left fielder is coming in from left field. Not quite sure why. I just don't know what's happening right here. All right, I guess they were just having a conference. All right, we keep playing. 10-0 the score, bottom of the 5th. Mitch Atkins taking on Travis Witherspoon. Witherspoon 1 for 1 today. The batting average started the day at 123, but after 2 hits, it's up to 150. He wiggles the bat above his helmet. Soft ground ball to the left side. Here comes the third baseman. He's unable to come up with it. And the pitcher, Mitch Atkins, knew Ruby Silva was going to try to race to third there. He's done it before. Atkins wisely sprinted to go pick up that baseball, and he cut Silva off in his... Cut Ruby Silva off in his tracks. Getting word that our Facebook stream is no longer working. And I apologize for any technical difficulties. Blackstone stands in his left-handed batter's box. This one bounces in front of home plate, and it's ball number 1. Atkins back onto the mound. He's thrown 59 pitches, 46 strikes. Fastball fouled off to the right side, and the count of ball and a strike. Mitch Atkins has had pinpoint control this season. He has walked just 25 batters in 20 starts coming into today. He's had 1 walk or fewer 12 times, and he's had 0 walks 6 times. Fastball elevated, and the count 1-2 after Blackstone swings on and misses. 10-0 the score. The Revs put up 3 in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings. They also put up 1 in the 1st. Blue Crabs with 2 hits in this inning. Runners at 1st and 2nd, both of them with good speed at the dish, and Kent Blackstone. A little nubber into center field. This could be a run, and a missed catch in center. Couldn't quite get there, could the second baseman. And that's an RBI single for Kent Blackstone. Good effort by Angelis Nina. But the Blue Crabs are on the board. The score 10-1. That brings up Edwin Garcia. Garcia comes up to the plate 0 for 2 today. Blackstone's had a great day at the plate. He's 4 for 6 on the day. His batting average has gone up 9 points on the day. He also has an RBI. That is 19th of the season. Additionally, he has picked up his 18th and 19th multi-hit games in this doubleheader. As yet again a conference is happening, and I believe somebody's being pulled out of the game. And I'm just not quite sure why. Believe Henry Castillo is going to sub into second base. Get to these moves as we get them. So 2 down, runners at first and third. Silvio Martinez, the home plate umpire, is going to signal the changes that have occurred. A right-hander is up and throwing in the Blue Crabs bullpen. I think it's Josh McAdams. And that excites me because McAdams hasn't pitched in some time, but his ERA is at 2.07 on the season. Off speed inside in the count 0-1. Owen won the count. Likely John Griffin will sub into this contest, and the Blue Crabs will give up the designated hitter spot. If McAdams subs in, another number off to the third base side, and that's out number 3. Good play from Carlos Franco. So the Blue Crabs put up 1 in the 5th, but we head into the 6th. It is a 10-1 game on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Hey Blue Crabs fans, are you looking to watch a game from one of our luxury suites? How about the High-End Legends Club in left field? Call 301-638-9788 and ask to speak to a sales representative about your party or group outing.
This is Andrew Johnston, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Josh McAdams on the mound for the Blue Crabs in the top of the 6th inning. When he was drafted out of high school in the 7th round by the Cleveland Indians back in 2012, the Indians told him hey, we understand you're a pretty good pitcher, so if this whole hitting thing doesn't work out, well, then we'll make you a pitcher. Well, he stopped being a position player because he blew out his arm, so the pitching aspect was pretty much out the window as well. The Indians helped pay for his recovery, but then let him go once he was fully recovered. He then played some independent baseball and worked his way up to the highest level of it here in the Atlantic League. McAdams sits about 94-95 on the mound, which is really impressive for a position player, especially one that's had arm surgery, assumingly it's surgery. McAdams finds himself with incredible numbers for a position player. This one's sky high, and Josh McAdams is even quelling the best in the Atlantic League, and the York Revolution one down. McAdams came into today with a 2.08 ERA in 5 appearances. He had pitched 8 2/3 innings, allowing just 5 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 1 home run. He hit 2 batsmen, walked 4 while striking out 8. Incredibly, batters are hitting just 172 against him. Only Matt Latos rivals him in that category. First pitch swung on and missed. And it's just incredible when McAdams comes to the mound because nobody's going to expect him to be a great pitcher, but he really is a great pitcher. Wellington Dotel stands at the plate. McAdams faces the 1-2-3 of the York Revolution order. Fastball low and outside, misses, and the count 1-1. When McAdams was picked up by Stan Clyburn, he was told he's going to do a little bit of everything. He'll bullpen catch. He'll play infield. He'll play outfield. Heck, he even caught last season. Not here, but in a different league. And he'll even pitch. This is the 6th time he's done it this season, most of which have been in really, really tight ball games. But, interestingly, he did it in a 5-run game once. That's the closest it's ever been when he's came in. He's also an incredible hitter. He has faced the York Revolution once this season. He allowed 3 hits in 2 2/3 innings and really mopped up a game that was really, really out of hand at the time. As Wellington Dotel has his at-bat continue. McAdams likes what he sees from his catcher, Valerio. Here comes the pitch. Slider on the outside corner. Dotel's not going anywhere, and the count 2-2. And Silvio Martinez is going to go make Charlie Valerio pick up the ball. Instead, our bad boy picks it up first. Valerio just wanted to get a new baseball, considering that the runner wasn't going anywhere, but Martinez said, nope, he could still steal first base. You got to go pick it up. Payoff pitch on its way. McAdams has walked just 4 batters in 8 2/3 innings this season, coming into today. 3-2 right up the middle and gets past Josh McAdams. That's good for a base hit from Wellington Dotel. The time is now 10:30. And here comes the next man up to the plate, Telvin Nash. He has drawn a whole lot of walks in this doubleheader, about 5 in 2 games. In fact, he's batted in just 13 innings now after this at bat. And he has the chance to draw 6 walks in that time frame. Up to the plate, Telvin Nash. This one's sky high and back, and the count 1-1. count 1-1 from McAdams to Telvin Nash. Here comes the pitch. Fastball. A little bit high, and the count 2-1. "15 hits have given the Revs 10 runs. 6 hits for the Blue Crabs have given them 1. The pitch, a little bit high, and the count 3 balls and a strike. That's the second time in a row that a batter has seen 3 balls to Josh McAdams. And this is where it comes really key to have a position player that can really hold his own out there on the mound. Considering your only 2 available arms among relievers would be James Dykstra and Matt Latos. And both of those individuals find themselves as a setup or a closer. And Telvin Nash has drawn 6 walks today now. 6 walks in a doubleheader is just incredible. How about 4 walks in this game alone? He scored 3 runs and he's 0 for 1 at the plate. That is just going to hurt if you're the Blue Crabs every day of the week. Southern Maryland has issued 8 walks in this contest. That's as many RBIs as the Rebs have in this game. 1 out and runners at first and second. Isaiah Tejeda takes a pitch on the outside corner for strike number 1. Tejeda is 1 for 3 with an RBI, a walk, and a run scored in this contest. He comes back into his right-handed batter's box. Elevated fastball, swung on and missed. The count 0-2. McAdams, the definition of a two-way player. Honestly, he may be even more than that. He does just about anything the Blue Crabs would ask for. No balls, 2 strikes the count. This one well hit to center field. Travis Witherspoon has a good tame on it, though. He will come under it, and no runners will go on the play. So 2 down for Josh McAdams here in the top of the 6th. And Silvio Martinez getting it for the fans as they like his hustle on that play. Stepping into the box will be Carlos Franco. To this point in the contest, Franco finds himself 2 for 4, 3 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. In fact, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the York Revolution each have 2 RBIs and at least 2 hits in this contest. First pitch misses on the outside corner, and the count 1-0. Carlos Franco steps back into his dish. This pitch, a little bit inside, but it catches for strike number 1. 1-1 the count. As Carlos Franco digs back into his left-handed batter's box. He sticks the bat out in front of him, does Franco. Here comes McAdams, 0-1. High and outside, and the count 2 balls and a strike. A long doubleheader here in Southern Maryland. This game finds itself just about 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Game 1 took 2 hours and 18 minutes. So we're going on about 4.5 hours of game time here in Southern Maryland. The count 2-2 as Franco swings through a pitch. As the Revs are leading 10-1 here in this top of the 6th inning of baseball. Expect McAdams to pitch in the 7th as well. The ERA for Josh McAdams sits at 2.0. Actually, better than that, I beg your pardon. As I don't believe my computer had refreshed. Blame it on the technology, I guess. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners will go on the pitch. ERA for McAdams down to 1.93. Runners do go on the pitch. and it's outside. That's ball number 4, and that'll load the bases. So the Rebs have 15 hits today. They've drawn 9 walks, and that gives them 24 base runners in 5 2/3 innings of baseball. That's just a whole lot of base runners. That's really all you can say. The pitching lines to this point for the Blue Crabs: Tommy Thorpe went 2 innings, allowing 8 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned. 1 strikeout and 2 walks. Sky-high pop-up to the left side. This could be the inning. Tony Thomas comes under it and catches for out number 3. We take in the bottom of the 6th on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
So, what do you like about your home?
Practice like hockey. I practice stick handling and sometimes shooting. Mommy, go outside sometimes. I like playing lacrosse. Playing the Switch. I like the scribble. Daddy, I like to build Legos at home. I have the biggest closet. Riding my dirt bike.
We help you home. At Hometown Real Estate, we want to help you and your family home, whatever that takes and whatever that means to you. Give us a call at 888-225-2736 or online at helpyouhomebluecrabs.com.
This is Charlie Valerio, and you are listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
John Griffin leads us off in the bottom of the 6th inning. He will come in and hit for the first time in the contest. The designated hitter has been taken out of this game due to Josh McAdams pitching. Fly ball to the right side, should stay in play and does. 1 pitch is all it takes for Mitch Atkins to get out number 1. So here comes Tony Thomas. Thomas, as always, will bounce into a squat and now come up to the dish. 1 down, the score 10-1 here in the bottom of the 6th. 7-inning game on its way. Game 2 of a doubleheader here in Southern Maryland. Mitch Atkins on the mound, and the first pitch on the outside corner for ball number 1. Atkins has been terrific this evening. I beg your pardon. Ground ball to the left side and foul. The count of ball and a strike. Atkins has gone 5 1/3 innings, allowing 6 hits, 1 run was earned, no walks, and 6 strikeouts. Atkins, no hand in the glove. He gets his sign and comes set. Nice curveball in the inside half, and the count 1-2. As for the Blue Crabs, Tommy Thorpe got the start. As this one misses outside, the count 2-2. Tommy Thorpe got the start. He went 2 innings, allowing 8 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks and a strikeout. Adam Choplik then tossed 2 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. Brandon Shimma went an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 3 walks and no strikeouts. And Josh McAdams win an inning, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, no strikeouts, and his ERA on the season down to 1.86. That's a position player, mind you. 2-2 on its way to Tony Thomas. Mitch Atkins set on the rubber, and Thomas will step out and take time for a moment. Atkins looking for a sign. Here comes the pitch. Fastball low and outside, and it catches the corner. 2 away for the Blue Crabs here in this bottom of the 6th inning. Corey Vaughn, the last hope for the 6th for Southern Maryland. Vaughn, to this point in the contest, finds himself 0 for 2. Earlier this season, Corey had a 45-game streak from June 29th, make that from May 29th through July 28th, of games in which he either reached base or drove in a run. Rock and the fire. First pitch, cutter inside corner for strike number 1. In game 1 of the doubleheader, Corey Vaughn went 1 for 3 with a solo home run. It was his 20th of the season. He is now tied for 3rd in the Atlantic League in home runs on the season. 0-2 the count. Oh, 2 on its way. And Silvio Martinez grants time right as Mitch Atkins was starting his delivery. Vaughn awaiting the Atkins pitch. Here it comes. Slider outside corner. Good job to body it up by James Skelton. And a count of 1-2 strikes. Skelton has been terrific for the York Revolution this season. Was a member of the New Britain Bees earlier this year. He was a 2019 All-Star. Second time in his career he's done that. 1 for 2 as the starting catcher. Was acquired by the New Britain Bees for a player to be named later on May 7th. Fastball swung on and fouled back, and the count 1-2. Here comes the pitch. Fastball, inside corner. Did he go? No, he didn't, says our first base umpire. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here comes Atkins. Low and away, and the count full at 3-2. This game got underway at 8:16. The time now 10:42, and we're just in the bottom of the 6th. It is a 7-inning game, however, as Vaughn stays alive. He sees an awfully large amount of pitches. Always does. Three balls, 2 strikes. Atkins on his way. Fastball low and inside, and Corey Vaughn draws a walk, as he does so often. Vaughn draws an incredible amount of walks. At one point this season, Vaughn's 30 walks almost accounted for a third of the Blue Crabs' walks. Now, this is a Blue Crabs team that walks very infrequently. In fact, the Blue Crabs have drawn just 275 walks in 116 games this season. Against the Revs, they've drawn a total of 29 walks in 13 games. And this ball fouled off the face mask of James Skelton. Charlie Valerio is going to bend down, and I think maybe at least give him a hug. I don't know. I'm not going to say he gave him a kiss, but I don't know what just happened there. As the count goes to 0-1. Valerio is one of the most fun guys to watch play the game of baseball. He just has fun every day. In fact, I was walking down towards the clubhouse, and I just saw him dancing. He's just standing, dancing. What a fun guy. No balls and a strike. Valerio 2 for 2 today. as he puts one sky high in the night. James Skelton, I believe, is going to call it, and he goes to a knee and catches it. Nice defensive play for Skelton. And we're through 6 in Southern Maryland. Let's take into the top of the 7th on the other end of this break.
The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is a place with thousands of stories to be told. It's a place to relive baseball's greatest moments and share them with future generations. It's a place to experience the game and how it has shaped our history. Cooperstown is a destination with something for the entire family. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your trip to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown at baseballhall.org.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
Welcome into the top of the 7th inning of baseball. Josh McAdams back on the mound for the Blue Crabs. He has now thrown nearly 10 innings of work this season. He's a position player, keep in mind. He throws about 95 miles an hour, and the right-hander has a 1.86 ERA. 2 earned runs in that time, and a beautiful changeup fools up the bat of Henry Castillo. The count 0-1. He did run into some trouble in his most recent inning, although he didn't allow any runs. He walked 2 and allowed a hit. 0-1, McAdams on his way. Hit sky high to the left side. A major league pop-up for Corey Vaughn in left field. He comes under it and catches it at the last second, as 1 is away here in this top of the 7th inning. Angeles Nina was taken out of this contest in favor of Henry Castillo. James Skelton on deck as he'll step into the left-handed batter's box. One of few true lefties on this York team. Skelton stepping in to face off against Josh McAdams. First pitch fired in there for strike number 1. He has quite the arm, especially for a position player. I mean, he sits about 94, 95. Here comes McAdams. High and outside in the count of ball and a strike. In this contest, the Rebs have 15 hits, which have given them 10 runs. 6 hits for the Blue Crabs have given them 1. No errors for the Rebs, 1 for the Blue Crabs. As another sky-high hit to the left side, in comes Corey Vaughn, and he'll field it again for out number 2, and Josh McAdams can do no wrong on the mound. Every single time the Blue Crabs have a real landslide defeat, in which there's only been about 3 or 4 this year, but Each time it's happened, Josh McAdams has gotten called to and really, really put some cold water on the fire. His ERA down to 1.74. 1-1. This one gets away from Charlie Valerio. And no steal of first base here. And I believe in that situation, Valerio was trying to wave on the runner, Alvaro Rondon, to get over to first base. That's to say, go steal it, because Silvio Martinez, the home plate umpire, wouldn't give him a baseball. And then they just waited for the bat boy to come pick up the ball, and in comes running the bat boy. Funny scene there. It's always funny to see what Charlie Valerio is going to do with this stolen base rule. 2 balls, no strikes the count. McAdams back out onto the mound. Here comes the pitch. Hit high into the right side. Ruby Silva comes under it. And Josh McAdams with 2 quick innings of work. We take you into the bottom of the 7th with a 10-1 game.
So, what do you like about your home?
Practice like hockey. I practice stick handling and sometimes shooting. Mommy. Go outside sometimes. I like playing lacrosse. Playing the Switch. I like the scribble. Daddy. I like to build Legos at home. I have the biggest closet. Riding my dirt bike.
We help you home. At Hometown Real Estate, we want to help you and your family home. Whatever that takes and whatever that means to you. Give us a call at 888-225-2736 or online at helpyouhomebluecrabs.com.
This is Charlie Valerio, and you are listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
So Josh McAdams, the pitcher, is going to come hit, but that's not all that surprising considering he's a guy with a batting average right around .310 on the season. He is a position player, but realistically, his pitching numbers are top 3 on the Blue Crabs, and his hitting numbers are top 3 on the Blue Crabs. I mean, he is the definition of a two-way player and shows it again here, although this ball will hang up a little bit. Out number 1 is a fly out to right field. McAdams flies out to Wellington Dotel and gives way to the 8-hole hitter, Ruby Silva. Numbers for Silva to this point in the contest. He's 0 for 2, although he has scored a run in the game. Batting average for McAdams now sits at .308. Silva was red hot to start the season this year. He hit .439 through his first 10 games of the season. Opened the year on an 11-game hit streak. That was a league best at the time, considering the Blue Crabs had played the most runs in the Atlantic League at that time. Additionally, he had 6 multi-hit games in the first 10 games of the season. Began the 2018 season under Stan Clyburn and Butch Hobson, a pair of former and current Blue Crabs managers. As a member of the Chicago Dogs in the American Association in the Dogs' inaugural season. After 47 games with the Dogs, Silva went to the Canadian American Association to play 28 games for the Sussex County Miners, was named the Can-Am Player of the Week in mid-June. High fly ball to left field. Going back is the shortstop Rondon, and he's going to drop it. Silva reaches on an error. And that's a tough break for the York Revolution. Silva came into the season combining for a .279 professional batting average in 10 seasons of professional baseball. He had a signing bonus over $1 million with the Chicago Cubs organization, would reach as high as AAA Iowa with the Chicago Cubs. Here comes Travis Witherspoon. He played in the Los Angeles Angels, the Seattle Mariners, and the Los Angeles Dodgers organizations. 7 years of affiliated ball, reaching as high as AA. Number 4 with the red pinstripe jersey steps into his right-handed batter's box. First pitch in there as Mitch Atkins is still on the mound here in the 7th. No balls and 1 strike. Runner at first is Ruby Silva. He reached on an error. Witherspoon waving his bat. Fastball on the outside corner, dug out of the dirt. I believe, actually, that was an off-speed pitch. A ball and a strike the count. Runner goes on the pitch, but it's fouled into the air. I don't think that will be caught. Yes, it will. But nobody was covering first base. So it's just out number 2. So Kent Blackstone is the last hope for the Blue Crabs in this contest. He's 4 for 6 on the day in the 2 games combined. He has driven in the lone run of this second game of the homestand. Garcia on deck, Blackstone at the dish in the left-handed batter's box. First pitch, ground ball through the right side, or so I thought. Telvin Nash made a terrific play to rob Kent Blackstone of a base hit, and that puts a bow on a 10-1 victory for the York Revolution here in Game 2. So the Blue Crabs fall to 5 games back of the York Revolution. 24-24 in the second half now, while the Revs are now 29-19 in the second half. Overall, the Blue Crabs find themselves now 50-68 on the season. Step aside for just a moment and be right back with the postgame show on the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
This rich. I like the scribble. Daddy, I like to build Legos at home. I have the biggest closet. Riding my dirt bike.
We help you home. At Hometown Real Estate, we want to help you and your family home. Whatever that takes and whatever that means to you. Give us a call at 888-225-2736. Or online at helpyouhomebluecrabs.com.
This is Corey Vaughn, and you're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network.
We can sign off on a Blue Crabs defeat at the hands of the York Revolution. Southern Maryland sees Mitch Atkins advance to 10-4 on the season. Tommy Thorpe with the loss, he goes to 2-7. It was an onslaught by the York Revolution offense. They really exploded. You could say the same for Game 1 of this doubleheader for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. The Blue Crabs win Game 1 7-0. The Revs win Game 2 by a score of 10-1. We can put a bow on a doubleheader. The Blue Crabs split the twin bill, and we'll be right back tomorrow. First pitch at 6:35. We'll be live at 6:20. Andrew Banster here, signing off from Regency Furniture Stadium. Thanks so much for tuning in. But as always, remember, most importantly, let's go Blue Crabs.